Good morning, everybody. Enter the stars. It's 9/11, and Kilauea has just erupted. I think it's safe to say at this point that we've entered the supernatural. Spiritual eyes to see the goings-on in this world, the connections between seemingly unrelated events that help guide us through these end times and help us understand the plans of the enemy and how he seeks to deceive and how he tries to seek to deceive the elect, if it were even possible. These are the images from Kilauea's 9/11 eruption. Wow. The winged disc of Burning Man. Now, you'll see today how all this fits into everything we've uncovered about the volcano cult of Tlaloc, or should we call him Moloch? Almost the same spelling. And we have to ask ourselves, what if, when God sent mankind out through the edges of the earth, after the construction of the Tower of Babel, what if he sent these people through portals? And what if those races began to obsess about how to reopen these portals through human sacrifice? What if the very mountains and volcanoes that they came through became the cult of their obsession to return to their homes in defiance of the Most High? Genesis 11:9. That's 9/11 backwards. And the very latitude at which Burning Man sits at 119 degrees. Let's read. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. You see, based on our research, the trees of the garden were likely portals to other worlds. And when man fell, those other frames of reality, or frames of the reality of this world, I don't know if I believe in other worlds, but frames of reality of this world with different physical laws, they were cut off after the fall of man. But those tree portals of the garden still existed and may have been used by God to scatter man throughout the earth. Not that he would need a portal to do that, but it would make sense because the image of God is likely a tree. Man was made in the image of God. We have a crown like a tree. We have limbs like a tree. We have a trunk or core of our body like a tree. Our fingerprints look like tree rings. We set down roots, and we have offspring, and we bear fruit like a tree in our children. So why wouldn't God use a tree portal? These massive, monolithic, packed hexagonal column tree stumps. Some of them volcanoes. I believe that the picture is starting to emerge about the truth of the nature of our reality and the evil ones who seek to take you off of your path, who seek to take you away from the Most High, who seek to muddy the waters, pun intended. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So, what if the cult of Molech or Tlaloc and this sacrificing of children to the fire, what if that came through the portal with him? Maybe that's what originated the cult of Molech, throwing children back into the portal to see if it would open. Because remember, the cult of Molech wasn't talked about until long after the Tower of Babel. And maybe these are the origins of the cult of Molech. The devil playing with these peoples that were scattered throughout the earth, sent through these portals, telling them, oh, we can open the portal again. All you have to do is throw your children into the fire. You see, there's an uncanny similarity between some of these far different, distant cultures about how they sacrificed children. And they all seem to fall under one demon. And that has to be Moloch. Now, here's the New World Encyclopedia, and it talks about child sacrifice. And in this, they talk about the similarities between sacrifices of children to Molech in the fire, and they also mention Tlaloc. And the similarities are uncanny. They have to be related. Now, I have a few more pieces of evidence that link Tlaloc to Burning Man as well as Maui. Now, by now everybody's seen the blue. The blue that didn't burn at Maui. The mysterious blue paint. By now, most people have seen it in videos like this, where items that were blue were left completely intact. Umbrellas surrounded completely by fire. Cars that were blue that mysteriously did not burn next to other cars that did. These are some of the images coming out of Maui. The blue paint. And until now, there were some videos that I saw. Look at this. This is unbelievable. The blue survived. There were some videos talking about electricity and how it interacts with the color blue. There's some talk about the hue or the frequency of the color blue being in the 666 spectrum. But what makes this even more creepy is that there's a direct connection to this very blue color and the cult of Tlaloc. What am I talking about? Well, when the victims were sacrificed, they were not cremated as was customary, but instead they were buried in the earth with seeds planted on their faces and blue paint covering their foreheads. Their bodies were dressed in paper and accompanied by a digging stick for planting put in their hands. Look at the blue that didn't burn in Maui. Now I'll put links to all this for you guys in the pinned comment, but there may be a connection here. Now, there's something else, and this is almost as profound as the blue. Here's Tlaloc, laced in blue. Sometimes he was depicted with these fangs, like a vampire. Other times he was shown with a front row of teeth, as we discussed in yesterday's show. Tlaloc was the rain god, the rain man. Now, let's get into some other aspects of Tlaloc and the cult of the rain god. These are images of Tlaloc, and he is said to be wearing goggles. And one of you mentioned in yesterday's show that the attendees of Burning Man were also wearing goggles. Here are some of the images. You literally can't make this up. Now, why are they wearing goggles? Well, it's because of all the dust in the sand blowing about. It can burn the eyes, and therefore goggles were a prominent fixture of Burning Man. Was this event channeling the cult of Tlaloc in the shadows of the volcano in which it sits? Remember, Burning Man is in the lava field of a dormant volcano. I'm going to show you images of that from Google Earth right now. Let me check in with you guys and make sure everything is good for the stream today. This is unbelievable. Good morning, everybody. Tlaloc, or Moloch. Let's take a look. Children sacrificed in the fire. Look at this elevation graph that I mapped out in Google Earth that shows the lava shed from Thacker Pass, where they're building a giant lithium mine. And here, down here, is the actual elevation of the path in red that you see up here. Here's the path. Here's Thacker Pass. This is the rim of the caldera of the ancient volcano. And you can follow the elevation path all the way down to Burning Man. A precipitous drop. Literally, it's in the lava field. The mine is a project of Lithium Nevada, LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Lithium Americas Corporation, whose largest shareholder is the world's largest lithium mining company, Chinese Ganfeng Lithium. Are you finally starting to understand that there is a world order and Trump didn't change anything? And neither will Biden. This is the path from the volcano to Burning Man. Now, the Native American Paiute Indians say that Thacker Pass was also the site of a massacre of Native Americans by the U.S. government on September 12th, 1865. They're also saying there was a mass sacrifice event even before that in their prehistory between tribes. Now, what blows my mind are the connections of the modern lithium mining for electric batteries. And the ancient god Tlaloc of child sacrifice. Why are the two connected? Because Tlaloc wielded an electric lightning bolt. Here is the path downstream within the lava field of the volcano. And until I show it to you this way, you truly can't understand the proximity of this. Tlaloc's lightning bolt is the very lithium that will be used for electric cars. Electric cars, lithium, Tlaloc's lightning bolt. There's even an electric car called a Bolt. Now, this particular source says that September 15th was the date of the massacre by the federal government in 1865. And there was also intertribal fighting. But the people, the Paiute Indians, are opposed to this lithium mine. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Here's Tlaloc with his lightning bolt. And this is the Thacker Pass mine that is currently being constructed as we speak on this live show today. Now, you all know that I'm not much of an environmentalist because they use the environment to levy control over us. Environmentalism is about control. When they are the ones, the people in power and control, that are doing the most damage to the environment. We didn't ask for plastic bottles, did we? They were made for us. But yet we're the ones made guilty for using them. And this mine literally will kill part of the earth. They're going to turn this area into a 300-year toxic waste site. Let me explain what they're going to do right out of this article. Now, for those of you skeptics of Wikipedia, I'll say it again. Every single entry in here has a resource or a source. Wikipedia, yes, can not be accurate at times, but I have yet to date someone show me a mistake from Wikipedia. And usually it's not an intentional mistake. Usually it's a mistake of omission or something's outdated. But every single one of these entries have a source, a reputable source. And that's why the entry's put into Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is not Wikipedia. It's just a list of sources. So if you have something to say about it, let me know. But pretty much I'm going to delete comments that say trying to dismiss the entire stream because I'm using Wikipedia. Those comments will be deleted because I just explained to you, unless you can tell me a specific mistake, those comments will be deleted. Because what it does, it's part of the sorcery to get you to close your eyes, to not believe what you're seeing and hearing. And I won't stand for it. What is going on with Thacker Pass, which we just mapped out in Google Earth? Well, according to this, the site would melt down sulfur to produce 5,800 tons of sulfuric acid per day to process the lithium, as well as a whole lot of water. Wow. Now, the irony of all this, in this sadistic mine, is that Joe Biden is the one pushing for it. Supposedly, the president of, the environment is pushing for this electric kingdom. And there is infighting now between environmentalists. There's actually a guy camped out here. He's actually mentioned in this article here. We showed him on a couple decodes ago. Showed video of him. They went out and interviewed him. He was camped out at this site, trying to stop them from building this toxic waste site that's owned by China to fuel our electric cars and make semiconductors. And essentially, he got kicked out. I went to his channel. The latest update is he's been kicked out and he's being sued somewhere to the tune of millions of dollars for trying to stop the construction of this. He's in talks with the Paiute Indians. The judge does not seem to want to budge, and things are going downhill very fast. This place will be built because people with money have power, and they really don't care about the environment. They just pretend to. And they know that a boatload of money can be made. And so it's all just smoke and mirrors and power. They want us in 15-minute cities. They want us in electric vehicles. Anyway, I mentioned that guy who's there because he takes it to another extreme. He is obviously an environmentalist. He wants us all back in the Stone Ages. He wants us in a 15-minute city, but without even an electric vehicle or a car or anything. He wants us on bicycles. So that's one extreme. And then the other environmentalists are saying, in order to save the planet from global warming, we need to carve up the earth, literally slice into the earth, create a bunch of sulfuric acid, and poison the earth to dig lithium out of the ground. This is shocking. This is happening right under our noses. This will be the largest lithium mine, maybe in the world. And where did they find it? In a volcano. You tell me these people don't worship Tlaloc. Now, if you thought it couldn't get any weirder, this is Mount Tlaloc in Mexico, where the sacrifices occurred. And remember, this red line out right here, we pointed that line and aligned it with the causeway of the sacrificial rectangle. And where did it go? It pointed directly to Lahaina, Hawaii. So I put a pin inside the boundaries. The pin you see right here on your screen, inside the boundaries of this sacrificial site, where there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of sacrifices made that were children at the summit of Mount Tlaloc. And I noticed the latitude and longitude of this pin that you're looking at on your screen, and I hope you're sitting down for this, because I believe that we found the origins of the number 88, which of course is a portal number. The first sacrifice of the year happened on 2/23, February 23rd, which is 322 in reverse. This may be the deepest and oldest roots of the Skull and Bones cult. Look at all the 44s in this pushpin mark, in latitude and longitude, right there within the boundaries of the sacrificial site. Now, this goes deeper because there are people that the enemy has put in place to mock God. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if this is manifesting out of the spiritual. I don't know if these people are truly evil. I don't know. But I can tell you this. It's not an accident that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who has been lobbying for the people of Lahaina, it's not an accident that his name literally means dark hook. Here it is right here. Black fishing hook is the name Dwayne. And of course, his last name is Rock, The Rock. So he is Black Rock Fishing Hook. Just like Tlaloc wielded a serpent hook. This is Tlaloc right here. And now we know why in the movie Moana, The Rock played Maui and he's carrying a giant fishing hook. Literally, Dwayne's name means black hook or dark hook. And there he is as the character Maui in the film Moana. Let me check in with you guys, and we'll get into a very bizarre and strange creature that emerged from the lava fields that I just showed you of Thacker Pass and Burning Man. And it almost seems to me that it manifested on a spiritual level. And you'll see why in a minute. This is the Triops shrimp. Here it is right here. And in case you have not heard, millions of these shrimp are hatching from the mud of Burning Man in the wake of last week's rain event. Now, this will likely be one of our last Burning Man shows, but this story needs to be told. I know we're after the fact here, but this story needs to be told. The triop shrimp literally means third eye. As you can see here. But what is peculiar about this little shrimp is that its third eye centers around a prominent belief system of the people who attend Burning Man, doesn't it? Now, the shrimp can't see with its third eye, but it senses with it. And what's peculiar about these shrimp is that their eggs can lay dormant for years, if not decades, waiting for the rains to come. And not just some rain, they need a lot of rain. Just like the rare rain event that happened at Burning Man in the Black Rock Desert. The shrimp can also survive and thrive in extreme alkalinity, up to 10 pH, which is the same pH as lithium. And then I began to think, and I was like, I've seen this face before. It's the Burning Man logo. It's as if they've known this. The alkaline mud literally burning the feet, burning the man of the people of Burning Man. Let's read about this hatching that happened. What are the three-eyed dinosaur shrimp resurfacing after Burning Man? These curious critters were woken in the Nevada desert after intense flooding. Up in Burning Man 2023, here's what you need to know about them. Let's see if there's any clues here. Who would have thought a small yet peculiar creature could stir up such a scene in the Nevada desert? After heavy rains from Tropical Storm Hillary turned a dry desert into a mud pit, revelers at the Burning Man festival were left trapped on site. Wasn't Hillary involved in some kind of uranium, lithium? Wasn't there a mine associated with her? Maybe this is why they named that hurricane. I don't know. We'll have to connect the dots on that. Footage on social media showed thousands of festival goers in the Black Rock Desert in damp, wet, and muddy conditions. And now slowly marking its territory and sparking much discourse is a group of strange organisms known as three-eyed dinosaur shrimp. Gosh. The Independent needs to do their spell check, don't they? Look at the word known. Spelt wrong. But should we be worried about these critters wriggling their way in such a muddy scene? Now, some of these things are up to 2 inches long, 2 to 3 inches long. Massive. Dinosaur shrimp. Also known as tadpole shrimp. Now, I remember these things. When I was little, these things would come up out of the ground. And they were also sold as pets. For those of you that might recognize the form of these things. But they're trying to say these are prehistoric and their larvae can sit in the mud for a very, very long time before hatching. Long periods of time with no rain. Now, let me check in with you guys. I have one more follow-up item to do for today's show. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Remember the movie Joe versus the Volcano? And you'll remember the scene where the typhoon hits and Meg Ryan gives her GPS location. Watch.
Approximately 100.
So there you heard the GPS locations. Well, I looked up the location, and look what I found.
We are in severe distress.
What else should I?
The location is the precise position of a very rare island in the South Pacific. There is the GPS location right in front of Caroline Island. Now, some of you might know about Caroline Island. I had not known about this place. But Caroline Island is one of the most remote places on Earth. It's also designated as the first place on Earth to see the rising sun, or the easternmost point on Earth. People go there to, for instance, ring in the new millennium, because it was the first place to see the new millennium. So people actually traveled there in the year 2000. Now, even though we have our thoughts about the shape of the Earth, this is very significant. This latitude is very close to the same latitude as Japan. Japan is known as the land of the rising sun, and that's for a reason. But Caroline Island is even closer to the rising sun than Japan is. And because of the island's position on Earth, it apparently results in some of the longest eclipse durations witnessed from Earth. In fact, early explorers thought that there was a planet even closer to the sun than Mercury. They called that planet Vulcan. You know, like where Spock is from? Here's some information on the 1883 solar eclipse. In 1883, 2 expeditions arrived on Caroline Island in time to observe and record the solar eclipse of May 6th. On 3/22, Skull and Bones, American and English astronomers left the Peruvian port of Callao and aboard the USS Hartford. Arriving at the island on the 20th of April. Among those in the American expedition were the astronomers Edward Holden, Washburn Observatory, the expedition's leader, and William Upton, professor of astronomy at Brown University. Small boats could not come close to the shore. The equipment was carried to the island by men standing in 2 feet of water. On the morning of May 6th, the sky cleared shortly before the time of first contact and remained clear for the rest of the day. During the eclipse, the astronomers searched for Vulcan, a hypothetical intramercurial planet, but discovered nothing. The duration of the totality was 5 minutes and 25 seconds, a little less than the maximum duration of 5 minutes 58 seconds. Vulcan. Wow. Now, another weird thing about this island is that it remained uninhabited for a very long time. The only time, really, people tried to go there was to mine. What did they try to mine? Bat droppings and copra, which is coconut. Now, I had no idea that dried coconut was called copra, but that sounds a lot like cobra. So here we have a cobra and a bat. Weird. I'll put links to all this, but I wanted to do this last follow-up show on Maui and Burning Man and look at all of the things that we found. I'll put all this in a playlist, and I'll likely publish the playlist in the pinned comment. But let's go into the chat for a little bit. What are your guys' thoughts? Yes, guano is the bat droppings. Good morning. Yes, very weird times. I believe we've entered the supernatural with all this stuff, which is encouraging because that means we're in the end times. Literally every scene in every movie is not by accident. It was literally written to be part of a script, part of the scripture of the enemy. All right. Good morning. Now, when we went down, one thing I forgot to mention, when we went down into Google Earth, we looked at that Thacker Pass. Remember I noticed there was sulfur on the ridge very close to Thacker Pass, between Thacker Pass and Burning Man? And I remember I mentioned it, remember? Well, now we know why. Because they need sulfur, and they basically melt it down to sulfuric acid. So it's all connected, isn't it? That was the Holy Spirit tapping me on the shoulder and saying, take note of that sulfur. There's literally a place called sulfur right there. And I remember a demon came into the comments or the chat and mocked me for calling out sulfur. Well, sulfur is on demons. So that was literally a demon that came in and tried to throw us off the track of that whole sulfur secret, right? Because they said, oh, I suppose that you think just because the town is named Sulfur that it's evil. And they were like, that's ridiculous. I'm unsubscribing. Well, look at us now. The sulfur is the central component in the mining of lithium. Demons are real, and they talk through people. And so if you're one of those people, you speak something, and it's directly in disagreement or opposition to something that we find that is a major discovery, you might want to start praying about that, because a demon could be speaking through you to try to shut down the information. This is one of the most major discoveries, this lithium mine, that nobody is talking about. They're literally going to create a lithium mine that will be the source of our electric prison, the electric kingdom. Without this lithium mine, they cannot make all of these lithium batteries for electric cars. This is tantamount to one of the most major discoveries of, let's say, oil exploration. It's just for electric cars instead. So the demons will come out. They will mock. They will try to undermine you. And none of this would have been able to be found without all of the research we did up to this point that led us on the path to finally get here. Knowing that there was a volcano, literally the Holy Spirit said, Casey, there's a volcano near Burning Man. Look into it. And I was like, no way. There's no way there's a volcano near Burning Man. Sure enough, there it was. I was like, wow. So, yes, stay vigilant, Karina. Absolutely. Keep our eyes open. Never give in to the naysayers. Ever. All right, you guys. You guys have anything else? Do you guys want me to do any polls today? I think those were kind of fun. Anything you want me to look into? If I forget to put the playlist for everything we did on Lahaina and Maui, please remind me in the comments, but I'm going to get on that right now. Yes, extinct volcanoes are in many places, but not up in the lava field of Burning Man that nobody even knew about until now. All right. What poll would you like to do, Cheryl? Cheryl got a new puppy, adorable puppy. I gotta go visit you guys soon. is each volcano a portal then? I believe they may be. And we know this because we see a lot of UFO sightings, don't we? Above these volcanoes, we see electromagnetic activity struck by lightning. Now, I know that these volcanoes sit at a high elevation, so it's likely they would be struck by lightning. But the way the lightning works above these volcanoes is very creepy. It doesn't even like... Go on YouTube and look up the some of these video of lightning striking volcanoes. Look at some of the paranormal activity going on around these volcanoes, especially as they are erupting. In fact, I might go take a look at Kilauea and see if there's anything to see there. But it's long been understood, based on research on this channel and many other channels, that these high points, some of these mountains and volcanoes and column basalt structures are portals. And believe it or not, that's even biblical. It's mentioned in the Bible. As I said earlier, you have the trees of the garden, which essentially, when the stumps are cut down, it forms a mountain. And every time, or many times, I won't say every time, but many times, when there was a supernatural experience or when people would talk to God, where would they go? They would go to the top of a mountain. What do you think that mountain was? Probably a tree stump of the garden. And these were the closest places that had spiritual activity to where they could talk to God. Moses went up to the mountain. Who else went to the mountain? There were many instances of going up to mountains. And the dark side version of that is that occultists do the same thing today. That's where they go. And obviously this is where human sacrifice happened, with Tlaloc at the top of a mountain. So none of this stuff is beyond the stretch of imagination. It's just putting it together and thinking about it is when you realize what's really going on. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I love each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.